We got some snow. It's pretty cold outside. Let's see. I'll make this quick so I can go back in and get warm. There's a lot of traffic. Anyway, this story comes to us from a story that was in one of Gale Rhodes's books, probably the one that he didn't quite finish before he died. I think his family had to finish it. It's about a man who followed an old cart trail. He was on horse. He found this old cart trail. Trees were actually growing up through the trail, and so he knew it was pretty old, so he followed it back up through. And when he, about 9 miles of negotiating where this cart trail was going, he came to an old, I guess you can call it a Spanish fort, and with further investigation he went inside and he found 3 Spanish cannons. And that will be our story for today. This next subject, Dan, was one that kind of piqued my interest last summer, that you brought your family to look for, and these were Spanish cannons, but 9 miles from Daniels Pass, somewhere around there. Oh. But can you tell me the story of where that came from? How did we know? Because I think there was a guy on horseback that was traveling.
The story first showed up in one of the many storybook tales.
Do you happen to know which book that was?
Yeah, it was one of Gale Rhodes's last books. I think his family finished the book up.
Okay.
And which is odd, because I generally don't chase after storybook tales, but I had some personal knowledge that this just happened to fit right in with, and that got me curious, and I wanted to verify the story because of things that I had found in that area. So that's one of the exceptions of me chasing after a storybook tale.
There was a guy on a horse that was traveling.
He was on horseback, and he was on his way back, I think, from Vernal and heading for the Heber area. So he was taking the old trail. I don't believe, well, it could have been roads in those days, but not much. Not much of a road. Riding along, he noticed I don't know whether he was taking a shortcut through there or what, but he noticed an old trail heading up the mountain, and it had big trees growing in it. And I get what he's talking about, because I can't count how many times I've come across an old trail that I can see plainly, but everyone else is going to look at it and all they're going to see is trees and brush and whatever, because they don't know what to look for.
Right.
And
so is this a cart trail?
More than likely a cart trail, okay. Yeah.
Because that would be very distinct. The
carts and the carts and the cannons were going to be about the same size, same width in the wheels, and so. But so yeah, we'll call it a cart trail, and roughly 4 feet wide. But anyway, he followed it for a long ways. I personally followed it at the beginning. I probably followed it for about a mile, and then I could tell by the map where it would cross a road that went through there. And so I drove up to that road, got out, started looking around, found the trail again. I probably followed it for another mile, mile and a half on a four-wheeler, which wasn't easy. There's brush everywhere, and you have to find ways to get around it, and logs. And then I got to thinking, why am I doing this? Why don't I go up to the top where I know the trail comes out and go look for it up there? So I did. And got out on the ridge that I believed it came up, and sure enough, found the trail again, and I actually followed it back for about a mile. Which was stupid because I want to be going the other way.
Yeah, so you went down.
But I have to verify things.
Right,
you know?
right.
I have to convince myself that, especially when I'm reading a storybook tale, even when I get a first-hand story, you know, I've got to verify it. It's got to be settled in my mind that this is a high probability of a true story. And anyway, he followed that trail for a distance, roughly 9 miles. Anybody can go read the story.
Which started at Daniels Pass, is that correct?
Say again?
It started roughly around Daniels Pass?
Roughly, yeah.
Okay.
Closer to the Strawberry River, which at that point isn't a river, it's a trickle.
Okay.
It's a creek. But anyway, it came to some ruins. 3 walls, if I remember right. The west wall, it may have been all 4 walls. But when he went inside, he noticed 3 cannons. There was 2, what he called 2-man cannons and 1 4-man cannon. I may have some pictures I can loan you on that
Yeah,
show you.
appreciate it.
Basically, they look the same, but the 4-man cannon is, geez, it's got to be, I don't know, 7 feet long, and it has 4 handles on it, 2 on each side. And your 2-man cannon pretty much looks the same, but it's, I'm going to guess 3 to over 3 feet long, and it has 2 handles. And anyway, he noticed they were up against the south wall of this rock ruin that was up on a ledge. And from there he went to the east, I think it was, not too far, and there were 3 depressions, which is a good sign of some shafts that have been filled in. Well, he ended up riding back down into Heber, completing his trip, and got with one of his friends or somebody that he knew. They took a trip up there and they found the ruins again, but the south wall had been knocked down and the cannons were missing. And they got searching around, and eventually they found the cannons at the base of the ledges in the brush, like they'd intentionally been hidden.
Or maybe the cannons pushed the wall over and they just slid down.
Or maybe the Indians just got rid of them. I don't like big boom.
No.
But to my knowledge, and I think he even says that for one reason or another, they never got back up there. You got to remember, back in those days, it wasn't such a big deal to find a cannon up in the mountains. I mean, you wasn't going to be motivated to run back up there and figure out how to get it down off the mountains. You'd go stick it in your front yard.
Right.
I mean, what the cannon was probably put there, not, 50 to 70 years prior. So the motive was less.
So when they came back up to look for the cannons and found them, did they work or try to excavate the 3 depressions?
Oh, the depressions. I don't think so, but I'm pretty sure if you read the story, you'll find the answer, I think.
Okay.
But I think their motive was the mines.
Okay. And so this summer, you got on some 4-wheelers and different things and head up there with your family?
One of many trips.
Okay.
I've been up there so many times. I found some things close by that seems to tie in with the whole thing, and which is a whole nother story. And probably the reason that the fort was where it was, and why the trail was going where it was going, etc. There was a whole lot more that went on up there, and if considering where the fort should be, which we haven't found any sign of yet, there has to be a mine nearby.
So the fort that was there to protect the mine or to look for other things down the valley?
More than likely, yeah, they didn't just say, you know what, Jose, that looks like a great place to put a fort. So why don't you get Juan and Roberto and you go up there and build a fort? That's not how it works. And there's going to be a spring nearby. So.
Do you have plans this next summer trying to get up there again?
I don't know. I think what I'm going to do, there's just certain projects that I'm waiting to get LiDAR for. But just LiDAR itself would save us an awful lot of trouble and save us an awful lot of time, and possibly be the key technology that'll help us find some of these projects based upon the circumstances that exists. But until then, I don't know. We'll just have to see what bug crawls up my backside.
So the story says it's approximately 9 miles from
Yeah.
the starting point,
And it's pretty close.
and yet you probably have had different areas where we're 9 miles out to check.
No, I know where the trail went.
Okay.
And so I established the mile marks, 7 miles, 8 miles, 9 miles, 10 miles. And with just a little bit of common sense, you know, you go with 9 miles and you spread out a little bit.
But unfortunately,
It could be as far, it could be as little as 8 miles, it could be as much as 10 miles. But there may be other clues in it, maybe something I haven't noticed yet in the story.
So
I
if
don't know.
anybody was to read the story and go out there, they would have to do the same thing as...
Yeah, they'd pretty much have to do the same things I did. And one of the things in there is he said from the fort, you know, looking off the south end, he could see the valley of Strawberry. Well, what's in the valley of Strawberry now?
the lake.
That's not too hard to see, is it?
No. And then up
So all
to
I did was highlight it on Google
and
Earth.
to the north, you could see something else. Or south, I guess there's
Oh,
one
it's
point.
well, some people have called it a dinosaur back ridge, some call it a razorback ridge or a razor ridge. I can't remember. But think it through. I mean, what ridge is actually from that point down towards Heber? It's called Hogsback.
Hogback, which is a razorback.
Razorback
Yeah.
hog.
Yeah. So we're pretty close. We just need to find the stupid fort.
Oh, it's stupid LiDAR.
It's just frustrating, you know. You're so
It's-
close and yet so far away.
It is. It's a damn good thing that I'm satisfied when I reach a certain point. I can actually walk away from a story and never go back to it. Once I know that I found it and I know I'm in the right area, I mean, yes, I'd love to actually see it, put hands on.
And that's kind of why I'm
But-
wanting to video you, because, you know, eventually, you know, this might not mean anything to you because you have more important things to be going after.
Well, eventually I'm going to be dust and I can't answer.
And the other people that are watching this video will be able to say, okay, hey, that's something we can do.
You know,
Go
I
look
would
for it.
bet, if 10,000 people watch this video, there might be one person who's capable of going out and taking over.
Yeah.
Now, I know there's a lot of people who think they've got it, but
Well, hopefully that 1 in 10,000 will see this video and maybe it'd be a benefit to everything.
I'm still looking for a protege, and you know, I'd like to think my youngest is going to be the one, but you never know what's going to change in her life.